World War II. A point in history that all who were involved with it will never, ever, ever forget it. Everything about that event is imprinted on the heart and minds of everybody who experienced it. And I was watching a documentary on the History Channel. I love watching the History Channel. And it's called World War II in HD. And they were interviewing this man. And they were talking about the event when Americans invaded an island. It was either Saipan or Iwo Jima. And there were hundreds upon hundreds of Japanese civilians that were left after the armies on that island, the Japanese army, was defeated. And because he said that they were so brainwashed and lied to by their own government to fear Americans, that instead of surrendering and being given shelter and food, the parents would take their children and throw them off a cliff, and then their parents would follow after, killing themselves. Mass suicide. All because of what they were told. The lies that they were told. They died because of a lie. And as he spoke about this, you could see it in his eyes. You could see that the tears were welling up in his eyes. And you can see, just by looking at him, that what he was saying not only affected him, but he understood it. He saw it and experienced it, and it affected him so much. And then after he explained all of that, he just said simply and plainly, war is an awful thing, and peace must exist, and love is the answer. That's what he said. He wasn't articulate. He didn't use huge words. And he didn't say anything else after that. He ended it. You could see by the expression on his face that it was hard for him to remember that time in his life. And it's that very thing that we lack in our society today. We have sporadic events that have happened since then. Some kind of big and some very small. Things like 9/11, the Indonesian tsunami, the earthquake in Haiti. Tragic events, but they did not affect the world, the entire world, like World War II did. And in our society today, we hear about these awful things, and all we have to do is say, oh my goodness, oh that's so horrible. Click, turn off the TV, don't have to think about it anymore. Read about it in the newspaper, fold up the newspaper, put it away, don't gotta read about it anymore. See it on the internet, click off the page, don't have to think about it anymore. The people of World War II, they didn't have that luxury. Why? Because it's all around them. It was all around them. The majority of the population during that time knew what the smell of death was. They understood it. They saw it. They heard about it. They experienced it. And some of their own family members were the ones that were dead. Amazing. But today, we don't have to look at these tragedies if we don't want to. We don't have to think about them if we don't want to. And we do a very good job of not. Because as horrific as these events, those other events, like 9/11, the tsunami, and the earthquake, as horrific as those events were, and as quickly as they came, is as quickly as they disappeared in the minds of many people. There are still a lot of people who are involved in those places. And in places like Louisiana where Hurricane Katrina hit. But not everybody remembers. Not everybody still gets it. Not everybody still feels the tragedy and the sting and the pain that was experienced by those people when it took place. In World War II, it lasted from 1939 to 1945. It didn't matter if you turned off the television because you went outside and you experienced it. It was all around you. You heard of family members dying. You heard of your neighbors' family members dying. Mass graves. People being murdered all the time. Living every day wondering whether where you lived was going to be the next place to be invaded. Wondering, are bombs going to fall on us? Or wondering, where are we going to hide the next time the bombs come down? And in our day and age, we talk about unity and equality and peace and understanding and tolerance. But a lot of these people who talk about it, they don't have the experience and the understanding that these people of World War II have. And they never will, because they'll never know what these people knew. You can go ahead and sit here and say, oh, I know about World War II. I read about it. Yeah, well, the people that were there are the people you're reading about. Oh, I know about it. Well, they experienced it. You see what I mean? You can know all you want, but unless you are there, you'll never really understand it. Those people understand it. That man who took there and took the time to say what he said understood it. And we'll never forget it. We don't have anything like that today. We have nothing that's stained on our hearts and our minds. Nothing that makes us turn and look. And people say, well, the LGBT civil rights movement, that's going... Yeah, but the thing is, though, not everybody is affected. Not everybody's forced to look at it. A lot of people just turn the television off and don't think about it. And a lot of people, they don't think about it because they don't care. Because, you know, they think that the LGBT people are bad. That there's something wrong with them. That they're sinners. You know, anything that you want to call them. Anything that you can, call us. Anything you can think of. And they don't have to think about it. In World War II, you had to think about it. You had to see it. You had to experience it. Because it affected you. No matter where you were, it affected you. And the people who talk about the things they talk about today, they don't... they can talk about it and it still has meaning, but it does not have the meaning that these people understand it as. From the people from World War II. They have the real grasp and the concept. They know what it's like to not have their freedoms. They know what it's like to have their freedom threatened for real. A real threat to their freedom. Not the made-up gibberish crap that people complain about today. And, we've got all our problems today. And the thing is, and I'll sit here and I'll stand by it and I'll say it and I'll mean it 100%. Everybody wants to just, everybody today, they fight about everything. The little bitty tiny things. And our country and the world is not going to survive if we're all religious. It won't, no matter what anybody wants to think. And it also would never survive and go on if we were all atheists. And I'm going to say that, and that's my opinion. That's what I believe. Why? Because it's going to take everybody, every belief, every understanding, every person to make this world the world it needs to be. And people will say, oh, well, a lot of religious people are very discriminating. Yes, they are. You're right. And it's my firm belief that you can have religion without discrimination. That you can have a faith without discrimination. I believe that. You can have faith without hate. You can have faith without violence. You can have faith without destruction and hatred towards another person. I know that because I know people who are religious who are that way. They don't discriminate. They don't hate. And you'll never, ever get me to sit here and say that I wish that there was no religion in the world, because religion is a beautiful thing, I see, that has been created out of the minds of human beings. But I'll get into that another time. But our country is not going to grow as an all-Republican country. It will not succeed if there are only Republicans, and it will not succeed if there are only Democrats. It will not succeed if there are only conservative people, and if there are only liberal people. It's going to take all of us. And as I sit here today, I hope with all my heart that our generation is going to figure it out without needing there to be something like World War II in order to get their attention. That they're finally going to open their eyes and open their hearts and their minds and see the tragedies all around us that are happening today with the destruction of the planet and the discrimination of people and the wars and the violence that are taking place right now. I really hope that it would not take something like that in order to get this generation to understand.